Bickley and Marotta. Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
1 week ago, the Bears were devastated by a Hail Mary. Yesterday at State Farm Stadium, they got hail and Amari. In fact, a stadium full of Chicagoans in Glendale not only got wet, they got 213 rushing yards stuffed down their throat, along with a Cardinals team that dominated in every phase of the game. Offense, defense, special teams, and coaching. It was the kind of performance that validated our place atop the NFC West, the kind of performance that goes a long way in changing the vibe in Glendale. And like those pregame brats and Italian sausages, it was delicious. Now, after the game, it was something to behold, watching the Cardinals attempting to stick to their script of winning behavior. Players were very careful not to look smug or too happy, and very clearly there was no chest pounding allowed. They all know how tenuous success can be in the NFL. But what I do not want is the dominant nature of yesterday's victory to convince team leaders that nothing more is needed, that they now have plenty of pass rushers, that they are now allowed to be passive observers at the NFL trade deadline. To the contrary, now is the time to strike, because the Cardinals are 5-4 and in first place in November, which means they owe it to their team and this fan base to scour the market for a legitimate pass rusher, because next year is here, ready or not.
We got to circle the wagons, and we got to do a really good job of staying tight. That's what you do in times of adversity. You know, we got everybody we need in the circle of men in there, and the staff members in there, and the coaches in there. We got everybody we need, and take an inward look and making sure we're doing things the right way. Starts with the coaches first, and then starts with that practice on Wednesday. You know, we got a lot of things to answer here before Wednesday, before you get on the practice field, and it's important that we do that.
That's Matthew Eberflus looking inward. It's always a good feeling when you beat a team, and either they make changes or they're really doubting themselves.
Closed-door meeting.
We saw that back in 2018 when the Steve Wilkes-led Cardinals went in and beat the Packers at Lambeau, and they made sweeping changes. It's even better to do that when you're a winning football team. When what you just did to a team is causing so much strife and concern, they have to have all these evaluations.
Yeah. Listen, and so
can I say that your first line of your blast,
I was going to get there too,
was so good that it made me physically angry that I didn't think of that play on words.
Well, thank you. I do appreciate that.
Hale and Amari.
Yes. So here's what I think we're looking at. Yesterday, you can convince yourself that, wow, we're still going to get Darius Robinson into the mix. Xavier Thomas finally flashed yesterday, right? First career sacks, plural. And look, we pressured Caleb Williams 11 times in 27 four-man sets, which is really good. But it's the Bears. And you're going to be facing, if you really want to maximize on this season, I think Azeez Ojulari, especially with the Giants losing to the Commanders, they're clearly going to be in rebuilding mode. That GM is going to be, he's going to be among the next four dudes fired in the NFL.
Joe Shane?
Oh, yeah.
That's the guy. There was a firing today, Dennis Allen. Got the pink slip in New Orleans.
Yeah.
I guess like you said that.
Memo to NFL head coaches, don't lose to Bryce Young.
A lot of them, took that memo.
Yeah. And so look, and I understand that the Cardinals want to preserve their culture, but Azeez Ojulari's brother's on this team.
Yes, from the Giants' viewpoint, I mean, he's a guy who's been really productive this year. Didn't have a sack yesterday in that game against Washington, but had a tackle for loss. He's been a very productive pass rusher, but he's also a guy the Giants might have marked as somebody they want to bring back next year. As an affordable, not a break-the-bank kind of pass rusher.
Now he is. He's an unrestricted free agent next year.
Yes, but to maybe bring him back as a depth piece. And he would be just that because Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns are getting big money, so maybe he is expendable. That's the guy that everybody's looking at.
And it's the issue is if you can't re-sign him immediately, what are you willing to give up for him if he's a rental player? Now, in the NFL, you've got tags and things you can employ to keep dudes situated without giving them lengthy contracts. And not for nothing, I was thinking about this with Deshaun Watson. For as long as I've been alive and as long as I've been a sports fan, people have always criticized the NFL for not giving players guaranteed contracts. That how do they get away with that? Well, Deshaun Watson is a perfect example why. The one guy who gets one is absolutely shot and doesn't seem motivated to play. All right, so that's neither here nor there. So the point about what this team does moving forward is going to be, I think, an internal sign of how much do they really believe.
Mm-hmm. And here, the other factor is, like, you're in the middle of the year where you're getting the 49ers as a compromised, injured, inconsistent team in the division. Like, this might be as good a chance as you have going forward to win the division right now.
Could you imagine if we got to the playoffs and had a rematch with the Commanders and Jaden Daniels and Cliff Kingsbury? How cool that would be.
I don't know if I want that.
But Jarrett's right. You look at the NFC, and clearly the Lions are the dudes. But after that,
yeah, the way things are trending right now in the NFC West, it's Cardinals and Rams, then a bit of a drop-off, then the 49ers. And sorry, 49ers fans, you don't have much of an argument against that. You lost to both of those teams I mentioned before you.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks are going totally in the wrong direction.
They're fading. Yeah.
To the point where people are suggesting that maybe they should be sellers by tomorrow and unload DK Metcalf, among others. Another guy who deserves kudos, you mentioned Xavier Thomas. There was pressure all over Caleb Williams all day. Marginalized offensive line, yes, but who cares? That's not your problem.
No.
You got to get your pass rush right. Zaven Collins was really good yesterday. He talked post-game about all the pressure generated by the Cardinals defense.
We kind of just, wanted to get his eyes down. He's a great player, and as you can tell, like one of the first plays of the game, I counter spun, fell on the ground, got up, went to get him, chased him all the way to the sideline, slipped again, got up again, chased him back inbounds. He's all over the place. The play style he has is very, it's very rare because he has great pocket awareness, and it was kind of on our mind the entire game and throughout the week to get that done.
Yeah, this becomes a very interesting question going into tomorrow for this front office because I said it earlier, the Rams game yesterday, defensively, those are the anomalies in terms of pressure. These guys prove that they can do it when everything aligns. But if you're going to rely on that level of pressure or something close to it for the rest of the season, you're probably going to be sorely disappointed.
There's no body of work for it.
No, and the culture thing came up last week in leading up to the deadline. If the culture is strong enough, you can absorb somebody from the outside.
That's it.
And you can have them adjust to your culture.
That's it.
And there's nothing wrong with sending a message to, hey, guys, great job against Chicago. We really feel confident about where this is going. We're bringing in somebody to bolster what you guys are doing.
Yeah. I think it's appropriate. If you're going into the trade deadline with a 3-game winning streak, come on. Really, what more incentive do you need? 3-game winning streaks, very rare. 4-game winning streaks, even rarer. And if you get one, this team is going to be sitting pretty going into their bye week. They're healthy now. Yeah. They're going to get healthier. It's interesting because I get the vibe here. I think Cardinal fans are enjoying this. I think they're starting to really believe again in the quality of this coaching staff because yesterday was a flat-out clinic.
It was.
Right? And so but it almost feels like there's a ceiling, an invisible ceiling over this football team that everybody thinks they're just not good enough. And yet I don't know how many good games they have to play for people to realize that, yeah, maybe this is a good football team.
I'll just say this. I'm not suggesting anything. I'm just saying it. The Cardinals' one Super Bowl team wasn't good enough either.
Those are facts right there.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.